I'm kind of sad to see it go.
I'm kind of excited to grab it. We met with our customers. They were really, really impressed with the LandCruiser.
The Edison boys are going to take it to the Golden compound and start planning out the wiring. The batteries have shown up, so they're installing the batteries into the LandCruiser and then shipping me the batteries for the Ram so I can keep going on the Ram.
3 days later.
So I got a picture of a couple of the welds and I thought, you know what, I better head over to Golden and do it myself. So here I am.
Rich is taking this about as far as he can take it out in Ontario, so haul it back to BC where our engineers are going to be installing the batteries and then commissioning the truck.
We've done it with the fake batteries, but now we got to do it with a 600-pound real battery. Okay, whoa! This chiller is meant for the semi-truck. This is temporarily in the LC.
Guess what I'm doing today? I'm crimping manually.
All right, guys, I hope you're as excited as I am to watch this episode and to see the Ram in the background with some new crates in the foreground. We finally got our batteries and our PDU, and that means that we can start putting stuff together in our Ram. Now, we're a lot farther on the LC, and that episode's coming up, but that's all the way in British Columbia. This is Ontario, and you can see the Ram at MoparFest August 16th and 17th in New Hamburg. There's something for everybody. All ages are welcome. All things Mopar, and we can't be more excited than bringing the world's first Dodge Ram diesel-electric hybrid kit there. You'll be able to see the bones and everything that's going on with it. We're also bringing the K-Car and a secret project that nobody's ever seen yet, and we'll be unveiling that at MoparFest too. Kind of quirky, kind of cool, but you know it's Mopar because all things Mopar. We'll see you on the 16th and 17th. Here we go. All right, so I ordered empty batteries a while ago, so I didn't have to do this today. Unfortunately, they didn't show up in time. Now, we had the dimensions, the physical dimensions of the outside of the box, but like you can see, that brought it to here, not inside here. So that means I can bring this battery back another ½ inch. And now, if you guys understand how tight these clearances are, I was using cardboard for spacing in between. So I left the tabs loose so that we could move the tabs and gain that extra couple inches between the two batteries for the wire to run, for the plumbing to run. So unfortunately, because it didn't show up, I ended up doing that here in Golden anyway, using the empty battery because it's nice and light and we don't worry about sparks or anything. I could put those tabs in the perfect spot, tack them in place, take them over, weld them solid. Unfortunately, Vince wasn't here, so my welds are gonna have to do. And now we're ready to do the front battery, and then I can call it a successful day because our truck has the batteries, the generator, the engine, and most of the plumbing done. It's super exciting. Here we go. All right, so I've welded all the frames. It's getting late at night, but I really want to see these batteries in there. I really want to see what it looks like inside here. So we've done it with the fake batteries, but now we got to do it with a 600-pound real battery without crushing or damaging anything. So the back battery is pretty tricky. Front battery is a breeze. We got to kind of work it up and over. In hindsight, if I would have made this bracket a bolt-on, because it's not structural, I made this one structural and this one structural. If I would have bolted this one on, it would have been super easy. But now we're going to swear a little bit. Okay, to make it easier to hold the frame, which is right there, I made this little stand for it this morning with just a piece of angle iron with 2 nuts welded to it, so I can clamp this angle iron on there. And because this isn't my jack, I welded this plate from the jack on there as well. That way it can't tip. We can spin it and we can roll it underneath nice and easy, jack it up. We don't worry about the battery tipping over. I guess I could have drilled holes into the angle iron so these bolts go right into it. That way it would never really tip unless it took the whole jack with it. But basically we just do this, center the frame on it, and then just tighten these so that it doesn't go anywhere. Some people would have a transmission jack, but we just bought the entire property here and we're still on a budget, so angle iron and old bolts it is. The ledge is here where it goes on, so we just lift up, we pull the truck back 3 inches, drop it back down again, and it's good to go. Lee, can you run the jack handle? Come ahead. Okay, whoa. Come ahead, Baxter. Good, whoa. Go up, Lee. Okay, whoa. Come ahead, Baxter. A bit more, another inch. Good. That's it, let the jack down. That's it. Yeah, it's in. Bolts are too long, and I don't want to get sparks over my nice truck. And battery's dead. All right, keep going. Don't be shy. That feels so good. Down. Gonna pick up the back of the truck. Should be good. Yeah, we're good. Okay, roll the truck back. And we're on. Bam! Nice, it just fits. And I am okay with just fits because the key word is it fits. Good job, Ray. We'll put bolts in it in the morning. I wanted those in. We got Eric's cooking up some barbecue, and we will continue in the morning. So we're gonna sign out. Here we go. Hey, come on, get out of my yogurt. That's your second guy today. Okay, so I've always been used to working by myself in the shop, but I did run a construction crew with as many as 12 guys, and today was one of that feelings again when we were pouring concrete or doing trusses or doing roof steel, because it was all hands on deck. It was Edison crew with guys I've never worked before with, and then we took Baxter and Lee as well from Ontario. We had Baxter inside the cab, bolting down all the seats. There was a little bit of modification. They didn't want the red leather fancy interior, so instead we went with a really nice black, simple material that's easily washable. Lee was working with the engineers and figuring out where to put the last of the components. So along with the battery, we got our chiller. I accidentally put one of the wrong boxes in there. I put a 3-in-1 in there when I was supposed to put a 2-in-1, and I feel like an idiot for doing that. But anyway, while I was doing the battery tray, managing everybody, having meetings, and oh, you all right? but everything's fine. Eric is making massive headway on crimping all of the ends and bolting down the high voltage wiring for the last time. And this is pretty cool. Anyway, we're gonna keep going, and it's still light out. Apparently it doesn't get dark and golden until 11, and it gets pretty light out at 5. So that's a good 18-hour day. That's not bad. Anyway, here we go. All right, so this is with all the components installed. So we're gonna go over them quickly with Ray. We're gonna breeze over the chiller because that is super awesome for Edison. Jacob worked really hard designing that, flew to our manufacturer and checked it out a couple times. But this chiller is meant for the semi-truck. This is temporarily in the LC. Way too big because it's twice as big as what it needs to be. And basically there's 2 components of everything in here. Compressors, heat exchangers, and whatever. And this is what will control all of the temperature inside our hybrid vehicles. So this makes all of the perfect temperature for the batteries, keeps them cool, is also able to warm them up in the winter. So minus 30, minus 45, we're gonna send warm coolant through the batteries to warm them up so that they work at the optimal temperature. And that's something we get asked all the time. I hate electric vehicles because the batteries don't work in the cool. But this thing is what we've designed to be able to manage that and control that. So it takes the heat from the batteries and is able to put that inside the cabin, also cools the cabin as well.
Yeah, so it provides the air conditioning.
Right, so we don't need a condenser up front anymore. We don't need an air compressor pump on the engine. Nope. So from here, Ray, this is the PDU.
Yeah, this is the power distribution unit. So this takes your battery and your generator input, brings it all together, and then sends it out to each of the components. This is the heart of the truck.
Okay.
It pumps all your electricity where you need it, when you need it.
Okay.
The brain would be the computers.
So these components are because of what the client requested,
Yes.
right? So what do you got?
So this is the onboard charger. It's you can plug 120 volt into it, 240 I believe as well. It takes just house power, able to recharge the batteries. Over next to Rich there, we have a 24 volt DC to DC. So it takes your high voltage, drops it down to 24 volts for recharging batteries. It's 6 kilowatts because the customer wanted to be able to offshore plug in different types of 24 volt, 12 volt systems into it.
Okay.
So they request that. So that's a 6 kilowatt one, which is twice as much as what the semis have on them.
Okay.
And then obviously we still got the MCU back here. We took it off the cab because it didn't make much sense to have it on the cab. Rich thought about that after I left Ontario, so we swapped it back to here. And then the one component that we always forgot about right now is the 120 sitting on the ground.
Now, because we've just designed this chiller for the semis, we're now making sure that we stay within budget. We're gonna try and make this thing half the size, and that would go behind the axle. So we removed the fuel tank. We're still gonna use our little stub tank on the side. We're gonna leave this chiller in. We're gonna take it to the next demonstration. This truck is actually the closest to being running and moving. So what that means is we can use this chiller. We're gonna borrow it while we're designing one that's half the size, making sure that it works, that everything is functional, and then it's ready to go on the semi.
Yeah.
We fully know that it's working. So it's a nice little test bench.
Yeah. If it doesn't work for this, it's not gonna work on the semi.
We also need access to these two. These are your emergency kind of shutoffs.
Yeah, so they're just gonna be little handholds that you can use and disable them, right?
Right, and then this is also going to have your plugs on there for your different power requirements.
So all the
your 120,
offshoring.
your 220, all the offshore. It's going to be nicely in the back. The plug to charge the everything. So everything's nice in the back, and we still have half the box.
Half the box,
So keep in mind, this is only a short box. It's not a very big box, and we have 0 components inside the cab. If we were able to put some components inside the cab, we would already get rid of a lot of this, but really excited that it's all fitting in a tiny little LC.
Yeah, this is really the test. So it can fit in an LC, it can fit in pretty much any other vehicle.
Yeah, it's awesome. We're holding up the guys. We're gonna keep going. And now we can start laying out all the wiring harness routing while another company is making the wiring harness for us. So it doesn't look like it, but there's like 10, 12 people working on this truck at one time. Back to work. right, so we got the box back on it again. Now I get to finish all of my cooling lines. Now we've got our battery thermal management system. It needs cooling, so that's what supplies the batteries. Now that the batteries are in, and I enjoy that plumbing, except that my fittings are all like 20 minutes away now. I threw a bunch in the truck with me. I should have enough. And then while we're doing this, you can see the string. Even though it's 3D mapped, the engineers are now figuring out how to run all the wires. So I'm happy that all the high voltage wiring is on one side of the truck, but that interferes with the CAN bus. The CAN bus, if you know anything about CAN, that's what controls everything. It's basically 2 wires and a ground that send all sorts of signals to every component, and it's a very busy wire that can't have interference from the high voltage. So we've managed to keep all the high voltage on that side. We're gonna run all of the low voltage on this side. I got some fuel lines to run for the tank. I'm gonna mount the filter right here. And then the engineers can now lay out the entire lengths of the wiring and then send that off to the guys that are making the wiring harness. So we're moving right along. I've got about a day left here, and then I'm gonna head home again because it is in the good hands of the engineers now, and I get to do all this on the Ram. We've done a lot in a very short amount of time, and I'm very, very happy with how everything is turning out. We got a great team here, and it really shows that everybody's passionate about the project and that we're moving right along. So here we go. All right, so the high voltage wiring, it's not just like normal wiring. It's got a couple layers on it. We've got like an outside layer and then a shielding layer, which is actually conductive, and then another layer of orange, and then the actual high voltage. So what happens is we strip the outside layer off, exposing that first layer, that thin layer, and that gets grounded out in the plugs where it goes through the component. And then the lug gets crimped onto the center part, and that's what actually feeds our component. So it's a little bit tricky and a little bit time consuming, but these guys are killing it. Just underneath here, we got the loom on there. We've got our new brackets printed. So now, because my clearances were already super tight, it's a little bit tricky because we had to open up those brackets a little bit because the room for the sheathing, but we'll still be able to make everything just as neat and tidy as it was before. So I'm worried about this big stuff here. This is some pretty hefty loom on this, but that kind of gets hidden in the box, so it won't be too bad. I just really like everything being neat and organized and tidy, and it's kind of my my thing, yeah. So, but I'm sure it'll turn out just beautiful. I'm looking forward to the extra room in the Ram. Here we go.
Well, funny enough, we ended up ordering a professional automated crimping setup. It cost about $20,000. Guess what I'm doing today? I'm crimping manually.
Where is it?
It's still on the boat somewhere. It's all right. This will do just fine.
As you can see, everyone here is working. But Rich, he's just playing on his phone.
Oh, it's nice being a supervisor sometimes.
I'm trying to find a picture of how I had the wiring done. Because it was super tight.
Don't worry, I'm supervising Rich, so we're covered.
At least you're wearing safety glasses.
That's right.
So what's really good about these batteries compared to Topsy's is they use finger-safe keyed connectors that can actually wiggle on their axis. Now you see, this is so much better than lug connectors, where I have to sketchily put a lug in and put that bolt on. This actually means that you can, with your hand, safely connect them up. Now, I can't stress enough how awesome these connectors are. When I wired up Topsy, it took literally days, and it was super sketchy. This took a matter of minutes. So really happy with the work the team did. And yeah, it's amazing how in a matter of a week, we went from just having this chassis sitting here with nothing in it to having a pre-charged system fully work under code. Now you can check here in the back, it's pretty hardcore. It looks a bit big, we understand that, but this is our heat pump system. It's quite large, but what we're happy is it will produce a ton of cooling or heating capacity directly off the batteries, which is the goal. This here is our power distribution unit. It's got a really nice DC disconnect. So it might not look the prettiest right now. It's got a lot of cables all over the place, but this is just extra slack in case the customer wants to manipulate things. We're actually putting a really nice cover over all this, so it's all hidden away. So really happy with all the crimping and all the cable management we did down here. But more importantly, I put gasket maker as well as dielectric grease on all our connection, making sure 100% they're all waterproof.
All right, so after Eric did all the high voltage work, that means it's time to start commissioning the low voltage and control side of this vehicle. Because we have so many projects going on at once, the options were either outsource the harnessing to a third party or delay this project for a couple weeks. We don't really like to delay stuff that much, so we decided to outsource it to try and get it ready as soon as possible. So we provided all the pinouts and wiring diagrams that we needed to the third party, and they're now working on getting it wired up. There were a few little things that we had to do to make their lives easier. A lot of our overseas components don't have commonly available connectors, so what we've done and what we'll do on all our vehicles is provide harnesses that have a very common Deutsch connector. So what we do on those guys, and what we try to do for all our connectors, is we double seal them. So for this guy, we use 2 heat shrinks. On our professionally made harnesses for the semi-truck, we put a heat shrink and then a boot on there. That makes them as rugged and resilient as possible to things like water damage and corrosion. The final test for these guys is for all of our components is we do an individual comms check. So that means we plug into their comms port and we do as much functionality testing as we want. So for the PDU, what that means is we try to get up to a successful pre-charge. So that's taking high voltage from the battery input side, putting it through our pre-charge circuit onto the device output side, so therefore it's ready to start distributing power. We then turn everything off and we go and test that on the axle and generator control harnesses. What that entails is simply just turning them on, doing a comms check, making sure they're behaving as expected. Once you've done all that, then the truck's ready to go to final commissioning. All right, so that is it for me here. I wanted to help these guys out on some of the stuff that I did, and now they're well on their way in stuff that I can't do anything with. So the high voltage wiring is almost done. We've got all the components put in place so that now the wiring harness is being made. And I am going to spend some well-deserved time with my family and then meet this truck in Wisconsin where we are going to get the wheels spinning. Why Wisconsin? Because there's a company out there that's going to do the wiring harness, and they said because it's the first one, they requested the truck there. They have a nice shop, we can pull the cab off, we can lay all this wiring out nice and neat, and I want to show you guys what's happening on that, and then work on the Ram as well. They're both getting built at the same time, and definitely want to check out all the other projects going on at the same time. We've got the Fargo along with a couple other things, and if you haven't, make sure you check out Edison, how they're making out with the semi-trucks, the new property, the new shop, all of that fun stuff, because it's very, very exciting time for all of us here. So remember, if you're not filthy, you're not rich. If you have an idea, go out there and make it happen, because if you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. Here we go.